So, how are so little people talking about this show that was just canceled before it even came out called The Savant? That is, when you get some information on this, pretty wild. We'll go through and we'll watch Disparu's video on it. I am pretty fond of that guy with a lot of his opinions I tend to agree with. Some of them certainly not, but to each their own. Nobody's going to agree with everybody 100% of the time. But yeah, wow, this is really interesting to see, and the reasoning behind why it was canceled, and just looking at the actress's irritation and hatred for it being canceled. This is just very interesting. So the program itself was about a so according to Wikipedia, the show itself is an unreleased American crime thriller miniseries created by Melissa James Gibson that is based on an article by Andrea Stanley, starring Jessica Chastain and Nnamdi Asomugha. I tried. The series is reportedly inspired by a true life story titled Is It Possible to Stop a Mass Shooting Before It Happens, which featured in Cosmopolitan in August of 2019 of a woman who has come to be known as the Savant, who infiltrates online hate groups in order to prevent large-scale public attacks. So, the premise of this show sounds pretty innocent from that, but in reality, what they were doing was quite literally making a show that is about a woman going in and infiltrating things like 4chan, Reddit, things like that, supposedly right-wing organizations, and basically acting before anything could happen. So it's like a counterterrorism. It's kind of hard. It's confusing when I try to say it like that. But yeah, you know what? We'll watch this video with Disparu and we'll see what he's talking about, because he can articulate this a lot better than I can. So.
Of fun, absolute goldmine of comedy has been cancelled. Well, it says postponed, because it's an indefinite delay that they look forward to releasing at a future date, but they're going to have to wait until it won't humiliate them, which is going to take a while.
Can you guess why it was delayed when it was, having been told everything that I told you so far?
Series, supposedly about stopping extremism, was going to be the extremism. It was going to lie to the public about the dangers of society and who was causing it. Much like Jimmy Kimmel. He got suspended after lying about the motivations of Assassin, only to return yesterday, where he spent the night desperately trying to characterize the killer as anything other than one of them, and trying to score political points from it.
I want to say that he's not wrong in any which way, shape, or form about this. I am extremely center. I take no position right or left. And I could not agree more with this guy.
Nor was it my intention to blame any specific group for the actions of what it was obviously a deeply disturbed individual.
That's
I don't
bullshit.
think the murderer who
Listen
shot
to what
Charlie
he said.
Kirk represents anyone. This was a sick person.
That is why the Savant can't be shown. It was going to lie and say the good, decent, moral people of the country were the ones causing the problems.
No, hopefully this is the thing right here. He literally goes on stage and says that the MAGA group is doing everything they can to say the shooter wasn't one of them. That's literally... Let's see if this is the clip.
Some new lows over the weekend with the MAGA gang desperately trying to characterize this kid who murdered Charlie Kirk as anything other than one of them, and doing everything they can to score political points from it.
It was going to make up stories.
Couldn't have said it better myself, Jimmy. Unreal, man.
Events and motivations that don't exist, while ignoring all the ones that do, because it's one she'd agree with. This show was going to get memed within an inch of its life, because every time it tried to make a point, it was going to get countered with facts and reality of things which have happened in the last week, going, no, you're the one to blame for it. Not that the Savant is anything other than middle-aged housewife fiction. They've just consumed so many SSRIs, they think they can see through time and space, even in clips from the...
I think that's probably my favorite description of the show. Middle-aged housewife fantasy.
Show, it doesn't say that she's actually good at her job.
All right, I've been watching him on the message boards for a year and a half. He's on the verge of serious violence.
You can listen to her reasoning.
Said he was getting rid of all of it. But all of a sudden, he's on the verge of serious violence.
Yes, that's right. All that guy did was sell his Lego collection on eBay. And she sees that as extremism.
How do you know that for sure? That's why we call her the Savant.
The main backbone of the entire series was going to
That's why we call her the Savant.
Be women's intuition. She could feel it in her waters. This is a woman who ignores and abandons her kids.
She's working.
Thought this was a no-work weekend, Mom.
What are you doing there all day? All night sometimes.
And then goes on the internet to watch communications that she can't comprehend. Now, Jessica Chastain, the main actress,
That's, I'm pretty sure, what we call girl bossing too close to the sun, my man.
Actress herself has a problem with postponing it. We're not aligned on this decision to pause the release. We've seen an unfortunate amount of violence, and while I wish this show wasn't so relevant, unfortunately, it is.
So that's a pretty interesting insight into how this woman thinks. She feels like the show is extremely relevant, but obviously she feels like the show is relevant because the show is in the right and it is trying to point out what's wrong in America right now, which, I'm sorry, but you're wrong, Jessica.
What the show was never going to tell anyone, though, is the people most likely to commit.
It is pretty wild. I gotta just cut in again and say it's wild to me how out of touch, like, really anybody with a lot of money can be. It is just so absolutely, it's discouraging. It's fucking disappointing. It makes me have so little faith in so little people, man. It's just crazy.
Violence in her series were herself, her husband, and her children raised under her ideology. We live in a time where yesterday there were fatal shootings at an ICE facility with slogans written on the bullet that she would agree with. A guy shot up ABC offices after Jimmy Kimmel got suspended, targeting people that she would have thought deserved it. There was a guy.
But those were all definitely right wingers, right? You know, again, I'm not even on either of these sides. I'm right there in the middle, baby. But, you know, facts is facts. That fucking no printer. That's really obvious.
Who shot up a wedding shouting slogans that she would have agreed with. 6 women got arraigned on charges of another ICE attack, which I'm sure she would have been in full support of. This was a show where the character herself would have been part of the problem, then looking over the fence all the happy family men and going, it's definitely you, and making up lies about them in the show, part of their romantasy fan fiction. Because that is what this was. Anyone that's read any of the Clitlit recently, it's all the same thing. Oh, well, I have this knife, safe, beta husband at home. But on the other hand, there's all these actually good, moral, muscular men. The dangerous ones that disagree with me and put me in my place from my evil beliefs. And I just really want to get with those. And she does in the show.
Wow, that sounds pretty familiar. Like every show I've seen in the past 10 years.
I don't think you should keep pushing this.
This entire series was going to be an excuse for the main character to get her end away. Because deep down, she knows she's in the wrong. And of course, this led to massive complaints from places like Variety, who actually had their reviews ready. Today, as I record this, was supposed to be the end of the review embargo for the Savant. All the media have seen it. They've already had to buy new sofas to replace the ones they were sitting on for water damage.
That's hilarious. Review embargo, like they do with bad video games, so that people can watch the entirety of the thing, but they can't actually say anything until it comes out. What? If you're doing that, you're telling me right now you have no faith in your product, man.
And they're spinning it as, in a shocking decision, postponed the premiere of her drama series, offering another chilling example of how business giants are running scared of the What? No, they were delaying it because they were about to lie about the victims of society and couldn't get away with it because of the damning evidence of the last week alone. Bowing to pressure before it even exists. They were about to get laughed out of the city. I've been looking forward to the series for months. This was going to be comedy gold as we got an insight into complete deranged fucking lunatics.
I'm not going to lie to you. I have also been looking forward to the series, specifically to watch this guy just tear it to pieces because he's really good at doing that with a lot of these. It's really funny. Very entertaining. Highly recommend subscribing to his channel.
We're going to see through into a window of the most evil people alive, and they were going to pretend they were the good guys. By the end of this series, I was going to have to replace my own chair after spending 2 months pissing myself laughing. We were going to see Satan judging the world because of a lack of moral development. It was going to be glorious. It was based on a Cosmo article from 2019, who infiltrates online hate groups in an effort to stop large-scale attacks. One of the rumors that have been going around of why did they actually feel the need to cancel this is because, yes, this may be a hypothetical organization, but it may have been inspired by some real ones. And if this guy was going to go around colleges talking to people, and they were going to say he was recruiting people for extremism, well, it would have simply been evidence that you're causing the problem, wouldn't it? And that actually, you have blood on your hands. Having watched
Ooh, a little too on the nose with that one, huh?
the 8-episode series for review, it's clear that The Savant is precisely the type of show America needs right now. Yes, I agree. In the opposite direction. What this show
Right, just like he said, it's definitely the type of show we need right now, but just in the a little bit different way, the opposite direction, as he put it, because we don't need incitement of more violence.
Should have been is the moral people of the country coming together to condemn the villains. It looks at a sector of mostly white male individuals. What a surprise. The greatest threat to society. You're never going to have the main protagonist realizing that they're the problem. And you wouldn't be allowed to target any of the people actually causing the problem, you know. Then you might get Jimmy Kimmel's knickers in a twist. Fueled by hate. That's just a human emotion. Bigotry. That's just having standards. Xenophobia. They keep attacking people with machetes. That's not a phobia. That's a justified concern. And misogyny. She's going around the internet spying on people and lying about them. They're probably justified in not liking your love. Maybe people would like you more if you didn't have a face like a slapped arse all the time. Sitting there judging people you're too thick to understand. He posted a frog.
I don't agree with making fun of people's appearances, but I'm not going to lie to you and tell you I didn't giggle.
Should probably pull him in for questioning. They talk cruelly. Oh no, not the hurty words. I'm sorry, is the hero of our story about to cry? Sticks and stones might break my bones, but she's too developmentally stunted to understand the difference. And they talk
You know, I will say I agree with them on that too, though. I don't personally agree with name calling. I don't agree with people calling other people things like Nazi. I think is fucking retarded. Just absolutely ridiculous. That's just dumb. I don't like people calling people anything. I have a lot of tattoos that are extremely like Viking heritage kind of tattoos, and a lot of people look at these and assume that I have some kind of supremacy issue, and I like to look at those people and tell them to eat a dick, because you don't know me. You know nothing about me. And, you know, but like he said, sticks and stones kind of thing. I'm never going to be too butthurt about it. I just think you're an idiot if you have assumptions like that. So.
diddly. Oh, not honest. Anything but that. Don't you realise we've got to disassemble and lie about everything we do to pretend we're not the problem? I can't imagine people being honest and talking the truth to people, bluntly, because they understand they can handle it. About enacting harm and violence towards individuals. Oh, like all those people that celebrated what happened to Charlie Kirk, or the guy that shot up the ABC, or the guy that shot up the wedding, or the representative that beat up an ICE person, or the 6 women which attacked an ICE facility. Yeah, all those...
Crazy that he had not just one example.
Those people. Where were you then, Karen? Where were you? Karen was probably on the sidelines cheering him on. You go, girls! We do get it done!
Girls do get it done.
Or others. What? It says individuals or others. Are you implying that there are individuals who are also part of a collective hive mind? Because I suppose morally that's what the NPCs are, but I didn't expect you to be that self-aware. Who they feel are unworthy of being in their country. I am not equal to the Savant. Somebody who is so mentally feeble, so developmentally stunted, so completely and utterly low IQ that she doesn't even realise where the violence is coming from, let alone the people who are doing. I am not equal to that. Thank you very much. I can actually point to where it's coming from. Pretty obvious when they talk about noticing bulges. Nowhere in the show does it mention the Orange Man's name. It's a TV show, why would it? Oh no, I get... This is because you think that he cancelled it, because you're actually removed from reality. You don't care.
That is, so telling and just amazing to me that this is just immediately blamed on the president. Like, again, I don't go either way. I don't give a shit. But when you just look at it and say, oh, this is because Trump's in office, that's kind of silly, man. Come on.
About what the truth is, you're trying to morph it into your fantasy delusions. And other than depicting nationalists in a negative light, The Savant is a straightforward, non-controversial character study of who? The entire reason why the show got delayed is because it was going to persecute the victims of violence. And it was going to portray the people causing it all as the heroes of the piece. Now,
The party of peace is the one that is committing the most violence right now. From an outside perspective, looking in on the two political parties, it is absolutely wild to see that the party who claims to be the party of tolerance and peace is the party literally killing people over ideals and thoughts. Keep that in mind.
Understand that this is far beyond your ability to comprehend reality, but it doesn't change that that's why it is. And a well-paced thriller about one woman trying to stop extremism. And boy, I think she tries really hard.
I don't think you should keep pushing this.
She rides that extremism like a 5-star jockey. If she's like, if only I could tire him out and exhaust him, he won't hop onto a roof and try and take out a moral person. desperately trying to de-radicalize people from what their universities have done to them. It seems absolutely maddening that Apple TV would pull such a move. I know you won't believe me, variety journalist, but this was actually to stop you looking bad. It was to try and save your reputation. Not that you're really doing much about that here, especially following the disaster of ABC and Disney yanking Jimmy Kimmel off air. Again, that was to preserve his reputation. He was going to go on stage and double down about how much of a lunatic he was. Apple TV pulled the show because if they showed this, you were going to have a solid 2 months where every day another lunatic from your side had disproved the TV show you were holding up about, no, the bad guys are really the people being murdered. Their position was untenable, but Variety is too thick to understand because they can't even consider.
Hans, are we the baddies?
They're walking around with skulls on their...
It's one of my favorite clips of all time. I can't believe he used that in there. It's such a great show, man. British humor. Gotta love it.
helmets, and yet they still can't put two and two together.
They've got skulls on them. Little pictures of skulls on them.
It seems Apple TV is cowering to a presidential... It's got nothing to do with that, you stupid bint. Aramide?
I'm glad I'm not the only one that's having trouble with these names. On that note, for what it's worth, my last name has 10 letters, and I guarantee you will never be able to pronounce it.
Tinubu? Tinubu? She wrote her master's thesis on black girlhood, adultification. This is from policeconduct.gov.uk and parental loss. Why does parental loss have to have a connotation to it and not just parental loss in cinema? What? Was a pint of milk involved? I'm very confused. As the Savant suggests, if we continue to exist in vacuums, unwilling to hear and listen to others while using logic and sound facts, then we are part of the problem. And I agree. You are. I agree you exist in a vacuum, have no idea about the other side, and live in a complete fantasy land, not
I also agree with that sentiment.
aware that your ideology is the problem, and then thinking that you're the saviors that should write TV shows saying that the other side is the problem. I agree that what Jimmy Kimmel said was a problem, and he should have apologized. That the Savant has absolutely no idea what she's talking about and is persecuting the victims of the problem. I agree that you have absolutely no idea what you're talking about. My problem is, I don't know why you keep talking about it. You've gone, yeah, this was an ideological show persecuting victims. And everyone else went, yeah, that's what we expected of you. That's why it got delayed. The Savant succeeds. It would have failed, let's be honest, because it holds a mirror up to present-day American society. I agree with that as well. The Savant held up a mirror to the people causing the problem, and they were looking at their own reflection. All the good moral people were on the other side of the mirror. They couldn't be seen because it's a reflection. You're not...
Could not agree more with what he just said there. That is really just a perfect way to state it.
Good at this, are you? You're not great with the analogies. Reflecting back to us who and where we are currently. I agree. Yes, it is your beliefs which are the problem. It is a TV show getting cancelled because they realised they couldn't get away with the lie anymore. And you going, it's all about the orange man, really, isn't it? The medium of television is so beautiful because through its storytelling capabilities, it's able to reach people. That's not why it's beautiful. And connect with varied perspectives, that's not why it is either. Allowing us to continue hearing what, no. Television and stories are simply there to give you the wisdom of a situation that you don't have to live through. You can gain the benefit of experience and think about dangerous situations and what would you do in that scenario, so that if you ever happen to run into them in real life, you've already learned from experience without having to go through the danger of experiencing it. It's got nothing to do with listening to people. You've got nothing worthwhile to listen to for a start, because there's
I agree with that to an extent, but I also think that, television in general doesn't need to be thought-provoking. You can have just plain entertainment, you know what I mean? But obviously that's not what this was. This was trying to push people in a certain direction, and I think that's what his point is here. I don't think every TV show has to be thought-provoking, something to think about. You can have shows for kids, you know what I mean, that are just nonsense shows that don't need any thought, any provoking, anything, that are just pure entertainment. Fucking things like the Marvel movies, you know what I mean? Like, nobody watches those for experience or thought-provoking things. They watch it to watch things go boom. Robert Downey Jr. shoots stuff with lasers, Chris Hemsworth with a giant hammer.
absolutely nothing that this woman could ever have done that was interesting in the slightest. She has no lessons to teach people. She sits in a room, goes on Discord, and looks at memes that she doesn't know what they say. Do you want me able to understand what a Helldivers 2 arrow key system was? She's like, maybe this is a map that leads to more violence. Even if we struggle to find common ground, snatching relevant TV show... No, it's the opposite of relevant. That's why it got cancelled. They precisely misread the entire room. If anything, it should have been a right-wing man going onto Mumsnet and looking to find the lunatics. Snatching TV from networks and streamers out of fear and cowardice. Yeah, they're right. They should have just doubled down and humiliated themselves along with everyone that liked it. Your review was coming, I'm sure. God.
To be perfectly fair and honest, I think they should have. It would have been pure cinema, and I know you agree with me, bud. You wanted it too, man. Don't you lie to me.
Oh, that would have been funny. Can you publish it anyway? That'd be really funny. Is the antithesis of what companies should be doing during this terrifying period. This is someone standing right in line with all the people holding up sniper rifles and going, "This is terrifying." Yes. Maybe a friend should stop it, love. You're supposed to be thinking, if I'm standing next to all of these violent psychopaths, maybe I should have a look at my belief system, because there must be something wrong with it, as it's led them to do that. That's beyond them, though. When American life and even the Constitution are under attack, it's under attack because you're going out and firing at it. And Jessica Chastain has sent out various different comments about this. From this one, the Radio Times, I'm more hopeful, but I always choose to live from a place of hope, even when I'm lying about the good guys. There's a Dolly Parton quote. Not sure how that's relevant to this scenario. I hate that this show is relevant. I hate there are mass acts of violence that the people that agree with you are doing. But maybe through this conversation and through unearthing this darkness in society, we're going to work together to fix it. We're going to work together to protect our children and their fathers so the children don't have to see what's happened to them. To create legislation, shooting people is already illegal. He knew what he was doing was against the law. The problem is the ideology of your side that motivated him, and to put some guardrails on things that they're seeing. Yes, like anything you like. For instance, this show, because this show would do even more to demonize the good moral people of the country and pretend that the people causing all of the problems are the ones stopping them, which is...
That's just fucking crazy, man. People are wild. I love Dolly Parton. I grew up on Dolly Parton's music. 9 to 5 got to be one of the greatest songs ever written. I mean, what else can you say about the woman? She's a national fucking treasure. I will say that one of my favorite shows ever growing up was Squidbillies. The guy who played Early Kyler in Squidbillies, his name is Unknown Hinson. He's a musician himself. He had said some things about Dolly Parton, questioned some things, and he got fucking kicked off of that show. They completely just ruined that show. The man was demonized for what he said. And I don't think that's right, man. Like, I think, look at what Kimmel can say and then get back on the air and things like that. I think that's absolutely crazy, but I will say I do think he had a right to question whatever he wanted to question, especially with Dolly talking like that, man. Come on, Dolly.
Exactly what Kirk Shooter thought he was doing because of shows like this. You are the problem here, dear.
And of all people, too, Dolly Parton. Come on, talking like that.
I'm always going to navigate from a place of hope, where you make TV shows that victimize people. But I do think at our core, humanity and people are good. Some of them, probably not the ones shooting people at school, though. Although, given by all the people on your side that cheered him on, they'd probably disagree with that. And the ones who aren't are the ones making the loudest noise. That's because of the gunshot noise is pretty loud. As the bullet breaks the sound barrier, as it's being shot at an innocent person, it's pretty loud. And then you capture them and find out they actually agree with the motivations of the show that you made. So, that's interesting. The trailer for itself got absolutely ratioed to hell, and they were going to push through it anyway. Right up until they realized, oh, yeah, we can't get away with our lies anymore, so we'll set a new premiere date. We don't know when. We'd have to wait for our friends to stop attacking people in the street first. I have no doubt that this show will come out. Whether they'll go back and edit certain parts out of it, I have no doubt they'll try and make it seem a little bit less hypocritical, or they'll wait until time has inevitably pushed more news into the feed and everything's died down. And then...
I think it'll probably be closer to the second thing he said. I don't think they're going to go through and try to change a bunch of stuff in the show, to be honest with you. I think they're just going to wait a little bit, and then they're going to release it kind of as is.
I think, right, now I think I can lie about these people again. Now I think I can persecute the victims and get away with it. Because there is one side which has shown themselves to be utterly horrific over the last few weeks, cheering on exactly the kind of violence that this show is on about. And they did so with those kind of smiles on their faces. This show is nothing more than propaganda to once again target the people who've been consistently targeted. And I can understand why that author was so pissed about Jimmy Kimmel, because this show, like Jimmy Kimmel, is desperate to try and characterize the people causing all the problems as anything other than one of them, and trying to score political points from it. Both Jimmy Kimmel and this show were right in that regard. It's just that they didn't realize that when they were holding up a mirror to society, it was their own reflection they were looking at. The call really is coming from inside the house. But those are just my thoughts. What are yours? Let me know down in comments below. Like the video if you like.
Could not agree more with you, bud. I think that was a pretty good take on that. I think I think y'all should all go subscribe to this guy. I absolutely love his content. Yeah, I mean, that's about all I got for you right now. Like, subscribe. Love you guys.